Welcome to our discussion of how to make blessings. Which blessing comes first? As we are faced with a number of different fruits and foods, we wonder, well, where should we start? Which blessing should we make first? So there are a number of factors. Number one, type of blessing. Some blessings are more important than others. They're more specific. The rabbis made a special blessing for that type of thing. So hamotzi, of course, is a very high blessing. But even mizonot, even something like this delicious Anshei, Sphard-Beth, Emeth, hamantash here from Memphis, Tennessee, where we make 11,000 every year. Even a mizonot, borei mizonot, that God makes different types of delicious foods. This too is one of the highest blessings. Ha'etz, the borei pri ha'etz, that God creates the fruit of the trees, is a higher blessing than that God creates the fruit of the ground for this peanut here. And Sha'akol Ne'apro is very generic, that God makes everything according to his way. The blessing over water or other drinks, that's the lowest blessing because it's so generic. More specific gets precedence over more generic. Also, some things are mentioned as things that Israel is known for. I mean, if God says, Moshe says in Parshat Ekev, in Devarim, Deuteronomy, that indeed Israel is so wonderful because it has chita, it has wheat, it has sorah, barley, it has chita, sorah, gefen, it has grapes, teina, it has figs, it has rimon, it has pomegranates, and it has a land of zeit shemen, and it has olive oil and dvash, it has dates. So if it mentions these special 7 species, then there must be something special about those species. Not only does it remind us of Israel, but also it shows that if God says, oh, Israel's great, it's got these fruits, and these fruits must be very important. These foods must be very important. And whatever's mentioned first is more important. But it's a little tricky. It mentions the land of this, and this, and then it says the land of these two things, zeit shemen udvash. It mentions the olive oil, it mentions oil, and dvash tamarim, the honey of dates. So it mentions these as a separate, it's the land of these two things. So these two things are very important because they're mentioned as something the land is known specifically for these two things. So if something is mentioned in that verse, it's important. If something's an apricot, it's not mentioned in that verse, it's not as important as these. So based on that, we're going to make the blessings in the official order. Now, there's many different opinions about this. Should we make a blessing over the thing that is whole or broken? Generally, if it's whole, it's more important. Should we make a blessing over things that are beloved to us in general? Like, I like dates more than I like figs. So then you should make it on the dates. But let's say right now I prefer to have a fig. So does that make a difference? Is it what you like now or you like later? Anyway, after much discussion over centuries, the Mishnah Berurah basically comes down to the order we're going to discuss today, the end of his discussion. Even there, he does mention the Vilna Gaon disagrees. The great authority, he has a different approach. So there are many opinions, but we're going to take the opinion that the Mishnah Berurah seems to lean to, and most people accept as the law today of what blessings come first. While we're doing that, we'll also be mentioning the various blessings. We hope that will be educational as well. So we begin borei minei mizonot. It comes from the wheat. It comes from the very first thing mentioned in the very first mention of the land of Israel and its beautiful attributes. So it comes from wheat, and it has borei minei mizonot. It has the blessing that God makes many wonderful foods. Obviously, it takes the human partnership with God to make a hamantash. It takes all the volunteers in our shul. But we still remember that ultimately everything comes from God. So we hold it in our right hand. We say the following: Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei mizonot. Very delicious. Now we continue, and we say, well, what should I do? I've got all these species from land of Israel. I don't have grapes here, but even if I had grapes, but we mentioned that the grapes were the third thing mentioned. Chita, sorah, gefen. That was wheat, barley, and grapes. That was the third thing, but then it says the land of olives and dates, the land of oil, of olive oil, and the honey of the sap of the dates. So it mentions these, singles these out. So since it was mentioned first, we're going to put this first. So we'll take a beautiful olive here, has the pimento inside, and we're going to make a blessing over this. The Borei creates, that God creates the fruits of the trees. Bless God, who's King of our God, King of the universe. He's merciful. He's our judge. King of the universe, who creates the fruits of the tree. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'etz. Wonderful. Now, I might want to continue eating, but it's a good idea to get in all the blessings right at the beginning so you don't forget that you need to make the blessings. This time, we go to another realm of blessings, and that's for the fruit of the ground. Now, the fruit of the tree is more specific than the fruit of the ground, because a fruit of the ground is true of everything. An olive is also from the ground, but a peanut is not from a tree. So, tree blessing, very specific. Ground blessing, kind of generic. So generic blessings come later. No, it's a whole peanut. So that would be ideal if I had half a peanut and a whole peanut. Better to make a blessing on the whole peanut. So we recite that we bless God who creates the fruit of the ground. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adama. Very good. Then we have the cup of water. Could be juice. If it's grape juice, of course, the Borei Peri Gafen. Gafen falls in the third place in line. Now, it's interesting. Friday night, we make Borei Peri Gafen first, and then we make Hamotzi. That's not the order, because Geffen is third. To the land is mentioned third as a feature of Israel, whereas the bread is from the wheat, usually, which is first. So really it's the wrong order. That's why it's one reason we cover the challah, because we're really supposed to bless on the challah first. If we cover it, if it's not there, we don't see it, then we can make a blessing on the other thing first. Similarly, if let's say you're having olives for dinner, but not right now, you want to serve them later. So right now you're having peanuts, so you can eat the peanuts now, even though other blessings should come first. But since it's not in front of you, you can eat the other things later. You don't feel like eating olives now. You want to have them for dessert, so that you don't have to force your food to be eaten in this order. But if it's all in front of you and it's all pretty much the same, this is the order we use. So now we turn to the water, which is shakol, a generic blessing we apply for meats, cheeses, milk, anything that doesn't grow in the tree or the ground, doesn't come from something that grows in the tree or the ground. And we make the following blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol niha b'dvaro. Now the question then is, what blessing should we make in the conclusion of all these fruits? So firstly, if you didn't have a requisite amount of these fruits, you can't make these blessings. So maybe we'll take a little break to eat the requisite amount of fruits, an olive's worth. Now, how much is an olive's worth? Well, we have beautiful olives here. These are pretty big. But rabbis worry that maybe the old olives in the ancient times were bigger. So maybe it needs to be the size of, 2 cookies. So maybe I'll have a date. I'll have some more hamantash. I'll finish my water, and then we'll be able to make the special blessing, 2 blessings after the fruits and after the foods. We'll see in a minute. So now I've had a requisite amount of hamantash. I even had another cookie, so I had at least 2 cookies. 2 cookies is an olive worth of the wheat. I also had several of these different fruits. So that was an olive's worth of that. I also had this water here, which, as long as you have about 3 ounces, then you need to make a final blessing of it as well. So we'll do so right now. The first blessing is Me'ein Shalosh. It's similar to the 3 themes in the benching, the Birkat Hamazon. There are actually 4, but once upon a time there were only 3. We thank God for the food, in this case for the sustenance provided by the Hamantashen, the fruits of the land provided by the various fruits, and then we thank God for Jerusalem. We pray for Jerusalem. Then we thank God for always being good to us, that He is the good one and He's always good to us. You'll notice the land of Israel, Eretz is mentioned, Yerushalayim is mentioned, many Perot, fruits are mentioned. Then a very short blessing for sustenance, the blessing over the water or other things that are not fruits, that are not from the land of Israel, that are not fruits. And that's called Borei Nefashot, where we talk about thank God for sustaining us. And here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam al michya v'al kalkala v'al ha'etz v'al pri ha'etz v'al eretz chemda v'al tinvar zedeh v'al eretz chemda tevaru chava shuratzita v'nichad l'avotinu l'chol min pirya v'lispo mituva rachemna Adonai Eloheinu al Yisrael amecha v'al Yerushalayim yirecha v'al Tzion mishkan kvodecha v'al mizbechecha v'al heichalecha uvnei Yerushalayim ir hakodesh mirav yaminu v'aleinu l'docha Samchenu v'nyana nochal mi priyah v'nisba mituva u'nobracha aleh b'kedusha u'tara ki atah Adonai tov mitiv al kol v'jelecha al haaretz v'al michya v'al pirot Baruch atah Adonai al haaretz v'al michya v'al ha'pirot. Pray that one day we'll be able to say these blessings in Israel in complete holiness and purity, be able to eat the Meiser Sheni, the second tithing in Jerusalem. And then for the water, we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei nefashot rabot, v'chesronan, al kol ma shebarata, la'chayot be'am nefesh kol chai, baruch chai ha'olamim. Bless God, who indeed is the one who brings life to all of the worlds. Thank you for joining us here at the Anshei Sphard-Beth Emeth congregation for a discussion of the blessings and how to and what blessing comes before the next. Join us each week for our discussion of the Parsha, the holidays, and how-to videos. Thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.